Does your child suffer from organizational overwhelm? That might be one of the signs that help you know that your child needs help, might need a tutor. Sometimes there are things that are going on in our child's life that is affecting processing. Our kids may just have too many things going on around them, and as we look at these different points of what could cause organizational overwhelm, we'll be able to think of some ways that we might be able to help our kids through that. But each of our kids may struggle with this in a different way. Some kids are incredibly organized. Everything is in its place. When they come home, they have a system of the way they do their homework, where they put their things, how they take care of their clothes. Other kids, things are just upside down. So it really just depends, but on the way the child is. But let's understand that, you know, one way or the other, they need to accomplish the tasks that are given them, and how much easier to do that when they're not so overwhelmed with the organizational stuff that has to take place in order for them to succeed, in order for them to finish a project, hand in their homework, do well on the test. So let's look at some of the things that might be inhibiting our kids with their organizational abilities. One of those things might be just a misaligned learning teaching style. Sometimes our kids sit in a class where it's very auditory, and all day long they're hearing the teacher talk, and then sometimes tests are interwoven in there, or maybe upcoming quiz or reminder of a homework assignment, but it's not written down anywhere. If our kids are very visual and they don't have the opportunity to see that on the board or to have that written down, it might miss getting put in their agenda book. As soon as they get out of that school setting, it's out of their mind, they don't remember. So we might find that some of that might be just a talk with the teacher, where we can say, you know, actually, is it possible either for him to have a study buddy for him to see it written on the board, or there's some ways that a teacher might help. Many teachers are more than willing to make those small tweaks that would help a child, because they want their kids to succeed as much as the parents do. The teachers want their children to, students to succeed as well. Another area is right brain, left brain setting. You might have a child who is left brain in a right brain setting, meaning they need all their ducks in a row and things are a little bit out of kilter around them, or the other way around. Their right brain, very artsy, very conceptual, very global in their thinking, and things are too tight in the way that they need to do it, and they feel inhibited. So some of that might cause overwhelm. And this is really just before we even touch a book, a backpack, a homework sheet. These things are just things that our kids are thinking through that are causing organizational overwhelm in their mind. We do need to come to stuff, because at times there is too much stuff around our kids, or when they bring homework home, they don't have, we'll get to this in a second about systems, they don't have a system to put everything into, so it just kind of keeps going into the black hole of their backpack. So sometimes that can be very overwhelming. Helping kids organize their stuff, keeping it separate from school, to home, to hobbies, different activities, where's all their sports stuff, where's all their school stuff, that kind of thing. A lot of times for me, just because at times I feel very overwhelmed as well, I use a lot of bins and baskets. I use that kind of categorizing system to pull things together. Some kids find it easier to keep things in a file, in a folder. Other kids need things to just be kept in a tray or in a bin. So figuring that out is going to be a big help, and the earlier you figure that out for your child, the better off that's going to be in the long run as they go off to school. Another thing is time and activities. Are they too jammed at the end of their day with activities, not enough time, that they're not getting everything done? That causes them to have these open loops in their head, and they need to close those. They need to wrap things up, and when that's not done, that can cause a lot of organizational overwhelm as well. If there are too many activities, and also just not spending time well, at times we can find that kids really start to feel flustered, and the clutter in their brain just needs to move off the deck so that they can really accomplish things. We know which of our kids jump right on projects, which of them pace themselves well, which of them two-wheel it into it at the last minute, and realizing that about our kids, and then setting up that system for them, which brings us here to systems and processing, helps them to get through some of that overwhelm. Part of the systems and processing that we might look at is your child affected adversely, or are they affected in a great way from using color? Some kids, when they organize things and they see color, they gravitate right to it. They can use the same sticky note, they can use the same highlighter, the same color folder, and that brings that cohesion in their brain to say, right, everything that's green is math, everything that's blue is social studies. Some kids, when they have color, it's too overwhelming. It's like having a box of crayons. It's just too overwhelming for them. So you have to figure out which of these systems work and then try to keep that process in place for them. I know, especially when you have more than one child in the mix and you have kids in different grade levels, this can become quite a juggling act. But as we teach our kids to do that, as we teach them different systems, it's the way to their education. And lastly, again, in the area of tools. Do they have all the right stuff? Are we providing everything that they need? Can they find folders? Is there enough paper? Are there pencils for them to get to? All the things that they would need, even just to do research. Can they jump on a computer, look at a book, go to the library? What are the things that they need to help them feel organized? We know how we feel. Just think of making something for dinner, and you're going to go through a recipe and you don't have this one ingredient, or you can't find your spatula, or you misplaced something, and now you're scurrying around. It's the same kind of thing with a child when they're trying to accomplish a task at school, and now think of all the things that are required of them in a school day. It can get quite overwhelming. So whether your child is 5 and just coming into the school age, or 15, 16 years old and kind of cresting at the top and coming down the other end with high school wrapping up in a few years, any of these things that we're going to put into them for organizational skills are going to be to their benefit as they head off for college and career. So these are just a few pointers, and we have more where that came from, so give us a call if we can give you a hand.